Hey, and welcome to this episode of the Fro Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 63. This is our third version of our video broadcast, and we want to talk to you this week about Aiden English and Simon Gotch, the Vaudevillains. They were one of the hot button topics this week. The Vaudevillains are no more. Aiden English looks like he's in line for a big singles push, and the reason for that is Simon Gotch is gone. WWE has come to terms for his release. This is not a surprise. He's had some tension in the back building since last summer when he got into a real-life backstage fight with Sin Cara. Sin Cara has actually had 3 or 4 of these at this point. He's had issues with Chris Jericho and a few other talents in the back, but in this particular situation, apparently the general consensus in the back is that Simon Gotch is a bit of a jerk in the locker room, and nobody seems to like the guy. Nobody seems to get along with the guy. Pretty much a loner. Well, this is not a huge loss to WWE because ever since he was brought up to the main roster, he and Aiden English, former NXT Tag Team Champions, he really has done nothing. They challenged the New Day a couple times when they first debuted on the brand. Otherwise, they have not done anything of substance or importance since. They've been pushed down the card, and they've pretty much been an afterthought. So there hasn't been a lot of use or need for the Vaudevillains. Now that they're on the SmackDown brand, there was a little glimmer of hope when they had the gauntlet match back in February with American Alpha taking on every team in the company or in SmackDown brand, and it looked like there may have been some traction there because they needed to build the tag team division on SmackDown, but that has not happened. It has not materialized, and people are not exactly impressed with his in-ring work. Some comments came out of WWE this week that people were concerned about being in the ring with him, that he's dangerous in the ring, and that this was a situation that they didn't want to move forward with. So, as it stands right now, Aiden English is now on his own, and that may be a good thing in retrospect for him. He's now going to get an opportunity to showcase himself as a single individual talent. And to be honest with you, after seeing the way he performed in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, if you watched his person closely, which people this week who have been paying attention to this story, you go back to that Battle Royal, you can see he actually has quite a bit of talent. So hopefully they find something good to do with him. It's a situation where you never want to see half of a tag team broken away for any reason, but in this case, there may actually be a silver lining because Aiden English provides what could be a top talent for, say, 205 Live, potentially the British, the European, United Kingdom division, whatever they want to do with him. And I'm sure in his situation, after being essentially a jobber for the better part of the last year, he'd probably be looking forward to a new opportunity and a new way to showcase his talent. The other big thing this week is the Superstar Shakeup coming to SmackDown and to Raw, and the conversation about who's going to be on the move. So initially, the thought process was AJ Styles and Roman Reigns will be swapping places. Well, apparently, there's discussion now that that may not happen. They may be taking AJ Styles and putting him on Raw, but that Roman Reigns will remain on Raw, and that the big Raw acquisition to going to SmackDown would be the New Day. The New Day would add some well-needed boost to the tag team division. They're bringing all that support that they have from the fans, and AJ Styles would bolster the Raw roster to try to fill that 3 hours of time and give him some fresh matchups with people like Kevin Owens and Finn Balor and Seth Rollins and all these people that he hasn't had a lot of time to be in the ring with. This could be a good thing. It could actually backfire. This is part of why a lot of people believe that Shinsuke Nakamura, when he was brought to the SmackDown brand, was because there was going to be a huge void if AJ left. Couple that with John Cena being off television for the foreseeable future with all his movies that he's doing in American Grit and all that kind of stuff. This is an opportunity for other talents to step up, but it looked like they were going to use Shinsuke Nakamura to fill that role. So we'll have to see how this plays out going forward. The other conversation was about the women's division, where there was a conversation about swapping Charlotte for Alexa Bliss. This actually, I think, would be a very good thing. Charlotte has wrestled essentially everybody in the Raw Women's Division. The Raw Women's Division is not that deep to begin with. Alexa Bliss has done pretty much the same thing over on SmackDown. This would give both of them new matches with every member of the opposite roster. It would really be a freshening up of both their characters. Charlotte's done everything she can do on Raw, multiple-time champion. Now she can go over to SmackDown and take on people like Becky Lynch, people like Mickie James, some matches that have never happened, and put her in a feud with Naomi for the title as soon as possible if necessary. For Alexa Bliss, there's been some criticism of her work as of late, but if you put her in there with people like Bayley, people like Sasha Banks, there's an opportunity for her to almost learn on the fly and do a little better with her character. So I think it would be a good move for both women. It would really give them an opportunity. The only thing I don't like is I would love for Charlotte to be able to have just a couple matches with Nia Jax before she goes. I think that's a feud that is dying to happen, and now after the way they did things on Raw last week, it would only make sense. The last thing I want to talk about is Ricochet. Ricochet and Lucha Underground. We haven't talked a lot about Lucha Underground recently, but Ricochet is very frustrated. He plays the character Prince Puma on Lucha Underground, and he's being held back, according to his assertions, because the way they do their contracts there is you are a contracted performer until the particular season that you contracted to work airs on television for the first time. So he signed to go all the way through season 3. Well, they had a mid-season break. They took season 3 and split it up, and it was recorded a year ago, and it still hasn't aired. So he's been stuck not being able to sign an exclusive contract with any other company because he's still under contract to Lucha Underground because they haven't aired season 3 to its entirety yet. At the end of season 3, he'll be written off television, and it opens up a world of options for him. He has announced in the past that he'd like to go to WWE. He would like to do some things in New Japan, more so than what he's already done, and he'd like to do more work in the UK, but he's somewhat restricted in what he's allowed to do simply based on the fact that he's still under contract with Lucha Underground. So it's something to keep an eye on and try to see where this goes going forward as to whether or not he could break free from this contract issue and get onto another company and further his career. Today we're going to do 2 matches in the first round of our 128-man single elimination tournament. We've been doing this for the month of March, kind of in honor of March Madness, except we went way over March. We're going to continue going. Our first 2 matches for this episode, our last 2 will be in the next episode. These 2, Nick Bockwinkel, multiple-time AWA World Champion, versus former NWA Champion, took the title from Ric Flair in 1987, Rugged Ronnie Garvin, or Hands of Stone Ronnie Garvin. So Nick Bockwinkel versus Ronnie Garvin. If you don't know who those people are, look them up on YouTube. There's plenty of material there for you to look at. And the other match, one that I've actually been looking forward to since I wrote these down at the beginning of this tournament, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, who was the AWA World Champion, okay? Mr. Perfect taking on Johnny Mundo, or Johnny Nitro, or John Morrison, or whatever you want to call him, the current Lucha Underground champion. So, put in the YouTube comment section who you would pick for those matches. I will tabulate your results. We'll take the ones from this video podcast and the audio version of the podcast, tabulate those, and move your choices on to the next round. Until next time, guys, that's all the time we have for episode 63. Check back with us in episode 64. We'll round out the first round of our fantasy tournament. We'll look at some of the new issues going on and all the rumors going on in the world of wrestling. If you don't have a chance, or you haven't had a chance in the past, by all means, check out our website at www.frolifeplanning.com, where we like to help people get to college, help you find a path, find that new career, university of your choice, whatever it is. If you want to have a free consultation with our company, and with me personally, I'm Mr. Fro, that's what I do, pop onto our website. There is a contact form in there, and send me your information. I will see if there's something I can do to help you get your dreams of going to college and make those a reality. Until next time, everybody, take care and have a great night. Thank you for listening to the Fro Wrestling Podcast.